All right, guys, I'm going to do a video on all the information I've gathered about this low oil pressure and no oil pressure all the information that I've got and found out about my, I'm doing with my camera, sorry, it totally sucks, and I don't want to go outside because it's 10 degrees outside, so there's absolutely no reason to do this video outside. So that's my truck. 2003 Chevy 2500 HD with the 8.1 engine in it. I just got it. I haven't had it that long. So, you know, I'm working through like what was neglected, what was this and that. So this truck was a little rare. It was not driven in the winter. A pool company owned it. Pool install company owned it. So they basically parked it in the winter, which is awesome because it didn't get all rusty. That's why it's in great shape. But a couple other things arise when you don't run a truck for a whole, 6 months at a time or whatever time. Things start to dry up, seals, oil seals, whatever the hell. So, first thing, I went through it. I did a, oil change. I did this and that. It seemed to be fine. Gave it a good bill of health for my mechanic. But first thing that went wrong was I had no oil pressure, 0. So I think it was pinned at 80. Actually, so either it can get pinned at 80 or 0, whatever. It's just not reading. So that's your oil sending unit. So that's a little nub on the far back of the engine. Okay, way back. It's a little sensor. Got a clip on it, and there's actually a screen below it to help so it doesn't get gumped up, which is probably why they fail, because they get gumped up and then they just read like 80 or 0, whatever. It can't do itself anymore, or the electrical. I'm not sure. But whatever, that failed. So, and I Googled the hell out of that, and it turns out it's the oil sending unit. Now, I just want one thing to note about that is when it goes to 80 or 0, when it's pegged or at 0, that's your oil sending unit. That's the module that sends it just to your dash. It does not mean you have no oil pressure. It means that your gauge is not reading right. So don't freak out like your truck's going to blow up, because if it had 0 oil pressure, it wouldn't run. Obviously, it'd be clanking around, I guess, is what people say. It'd be like ticking and cracking and not running. It would be flopping around when you try to run it. So, but don't get hosed on it either, okay? My mechanic is a good mechanic. Okay, it's hard to get to, and a lot of people say you got to take off, get the gas lines, the thing, all this different stuff around there. I mean, yeah, you can to make it a lot easier, but my mechanic got on top of the friggin' truck and did it in 30 minutes. He wanted to charge me 40 bucks. I ended up giving him like 55 bucks. I said, whatever, here's what I got on me. He did it in 30 minutes. So don't get hosed on it and to have somebody tell you, oh my God, it's at the back of the engine. It's going to take me 2 hours and I need 300 bucks to do it or whatever the hell. Just don't get hosed like that. Find somebody who's going to do it in 30, 40 minutes and just charge, whatever. Maybe 1 hour labor. Fixed. Okay, you get the part from a Chevy dealer, oil sending unit or module, whatever it is. So that's the first thing that went wrong. Now, then I fixed that. And then after that, I'm going to try to make this quick so this video doesn't get way too long. So, and then what I started having after I'm driving the truck a while is I'm getting very low oil pressure while I'm driving. While I'm idling. Now, to my understanding, the truck should be, it does fluctuate as you drive, but to my understanding, it should be about, 40's in the middle of the gauge. That's probably where it should be, like, as a normal thing. I don't know, though, so comment below if I'm a total moron. It's the first truck I've ever owned. I know mechanical. I know cars and stuff and things, but trucks are obviously a different animal than just cars. Cars you just maintain and they're fine. Trucks are a little more, mechanical and things like that. So, also in an old truck, you want to check especially. So I bought this truck to plow with. It's never been plowed. I put the plow package on it. I'm plowing it. Probably won't. I only do 2 lots, so it's not that much. But one of the mechanics I went to, a good Chevy dealership, said my fan wasn't engaging right, my fan. So that means that the fan clutch was gone. So I replaced the fan clutch. So that means that it spins all the time, but then it goes into like overdrive spin when the temperature calls for it, I guess. I don't know. So I replaced that. So now it has a real fan that can engage properly. So let's see. So then I'm getting low, like I said, low oil pressure when I'm idling. It was at like 12. Like 10, and I was like, oh my God, it was way low. It never went to like 0 or 5 or anything, but I'm like, that can't be right. How can I leave this thing running here with 12? How can I let the truck idle with 12 PSI? And then when I'd be cruising down the street, it would barely get to 40, and sometimes it would overheat a little. I don't know if that's just the way they are. It seems like sometimes when you come off the highway and it's not getting enough air, then it starts to overheat and then the fan kicks in. to compensate so then it goes back down. Some people tell me that's kind of normal too, that it'll go a little bit above the middle. So it'll go to like 220 or 230, then come back down once it figures it out and it turns the fan on to high. But I'm getting that. So then I Google the hell out of that. And it turns out that, some people say oil pump. Now, this truck has 122,000 on it. I really don't think the oil pump's gone. It could be, and it's probably, and if you're going to get in there, I would replace it anyway, because that's like 250, so that's fine. Because you got to, this is a 4-wheel drive truck. You got to drop and I'm just giving you all the information I know. So you got to drop, 4-wheel drive truck. If you want to drop the oil pan, you got to take out the front drive shaft, the 4-wheel drive shaft in the front. So that's a pain in the ass. That's like a 5.5-hour job, whatever. Anybody's going to charge you $400 to do it or more, just for the labor. Then you got to buy the pieces. So, but come to find out, okay, so the oil pickup tube in there that picks up the oil from the bottom of the pan and sends it, to the pump, has an O-ring on it that sucks, and it's known to fail. So you can Google this, you'll find this all day. So if you just have a low oil pressure situation, not 80 or 0, not pinned, that's an oil sending unit. But if you have a low oil pressure symptom when you're idling or when you're driving, whatever, I think it's a good possibility, and I haven't ripped the truck apart, of course, but I think it's a good possibility that it is the O-ring, okay, and you can look this up, you'll find a million videos of this, the O-ring at the end of the oil pickup tube, or oil feed tube, whatever, oil pickup tube, I think it's called. So it gets crappy and brittle and dry, and then it's basically sucking a little bit of air past it instead of just oil from the bottom, because it's got a little windage, right, like above your windage tray, there's like air. Whatever, not straight oil. So one way that people said to test this, and again, I'm just giving you all the information I found on the internet, and I didn't even test this way, but they said if you put the truck on a severe hill, then it can drown that O-ring, and then if the oil pressure picks back up perfect, it's that O-ring. I don't know which way to lean the truck. Somebody said put the back up. I don't know which way that the oil's sending unit is, but I would assume angle it both ways. I would assume to angle the front up, but somebody said project the back of the truck up. I don't know. Who cares? So either way, though, my goal to fix this was to lubricate the shit out of that seal. Okay, so add a lot of lubrication. So I did the first oil change I did it. I ran like not even 1,000 miles in it, and then the oil came out black because somebody didn't change the oil that much, of course, you know what I mean? So I threw a new filter on there. I'm going to cut the filter open to see what that looks like, to see if I picked up any more gnarly shit, but the oil came out black, for real. So my thing was to, and I'm kind of referencing this sheet over here, so what I did was I opted for, so the truck calls for 5W30. My mechanic said, put some heavier weight oil in there. It might be fine for a while and get you through the season. See, I'm plowing right now. I don't have time to take the truck apart and bring it to my mechanic and spend $800. That's fucking, you know what I mean? I'm going to get paid in the summer for friggin' plowing anyway, so I don't got time for that bullshit. So what I did was I got this. I don't know if this is going to be like reversed or whatever, but this is just, you can tell what it is. It's a Hyper Lube, okay? You can get this at any AutoZone. I go to Advanced Auto Parts. So high mileage oil supplement prevents wear and startup, helps wear at startup, helps restore horsepower and torque, extends oil life, quiets noisy engines. Now the thing that I like about this is it says Hyper Lube. Now I see what I didn't want is one that has detergents in it and cleaners and stuff, because I don't want to clean crap out of the engine that way. I want to lube that O-ring so it can pick up, so it can fluff back up a little bit and seal better, and hopefully do that. So I went with this. Holy Jesus! I went with 10W40, and I know it was probably backwards because I'm an idiot and I'm just using my phone. I don't really care. Valvoline, Max Life, whatever, over 70, high mileage, 10W40, synthetic blend. I went with full synthetic in the beginning, but synthetic blends just, I don't really. I'm going to do so many oil changes, I don't really give a shit. I do usually more than enough because I'm only going to plow with it anyway, so I'm not even going to put 3,000 on it in 1 year, so who cares? So I'm doing this just to get me through the season. So basically, I supplemented, I put about, I don't know if you can see it, but probably not. I put, this one's still got some in it, and this one has only a little bit in it. So I got 2 of these to supplement 2 quarts of oil. I only ended up using, essentially, I guess, maybe 1 1/4 of those tubes. and then like the rest oil. I'll probably end up putting a little more of that in there. So, you know, essentially we've got 5 quarts, 6, 7 quarts here. The truck calls for 6.5. So I think I have to put a little bit more in. I haven't done the final oil check yet. I just ran it once last night. But end of the story, long story. Let's go through my ways to check. Yeah, ways to check it is you put it on an angle, and if it drowns that thing, you can tell. If it drowns that seal, if you can get it to drown it, so it's not, you know, so it's covered, and it stops the problem, then that's probably the problem, the O-ring. But it doesn't matter because you got to get into the whole, you got to get the whole pan off to even do that O-ring. So you might as well do the oil pump while you're there. It's only $250. Well, that's in this truck. That's the 8.1. Okay, I think mine's inside the oil pan, my oil pump. In the 6.0s, I think it's under. External. I think it's external. So whatever. I don't, you know, do whatever you want to do. But the oil feed tube is definitely inside the oil pan. So, and if you have a 4-wheel drive, if you have a 2-wheel drive truck, then first of all, I don't know what the fucking hell those are used for, but whatever. Have fun with that. But then it's a lot easier because there's no drive shaft in front of your oil pan, across your oil pan. But basically, it solved the problem. Last night I drove the truck around for a while, heated it up to temperature. It held. It was riding over 40 and idling at 22 pounds again. Now, again, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I don't know what is stock, like it's supposed to idle at or drive at. I mean, but I always assume that the middle of the gauge is correct, right? Straight up in the middle of the gauge is correct. It says 40. On the high side, it says 80. And then on the low side, it's obviously 0. So I assume that being, you know, so mechanical, it's supposed to drop down a little bit when you're idling and then go back up when you're on the gas. So last night it was running like back to normal. So because of the lubrication stuff and because of a higher weight oil. So I guess that's the whole thing. And don't get hosed on that oil sending unit. If your gauge gets pegged one way or the other, 0 or 80, that means it's your oil sending unit. Don't get hosed and have somebody tell you they need $300 to put that in. That's a $60 job. That's an 80, maybe 1 hour, I guess. You know what I mean? I'll give a guy that. That's you know, I like to pay for stuff. I'm not trying to be cheap about it. So I know that was kind of quick. I was kind of fast video. I was trying to jam it all in. We're at like 12, 13 minutes now. So, but if you need more, you know, if you miss something because I'm talking like a moron, then you can review the video. But that's pretty much all the information. Chevy trucks, low oil pressure. Low oil pressure is either your pump, which I don't think so. At 122, I mean, but it could be because this truck sat for 6 months at a time for most of its life. It's a 2003 with 122 on it, so that's why I bought it, because it was a no rust, you know, low mileage, whatever. You know, I got the truck for $7,000, so I'm like, yeah, give me it. I want it, you know. Plus, it's white, so it just looks awesome. All right, guys, hope it helps. Chevy on, plow on, Ford. Just scrap that. Just bring it to the scrapyard.